I was scrolling on the internet when I saw this House of the Dragon theory, that Daemon Targaryen is or becomes the three-eyed raven. My initial thoughts on it were, not a chance. Doesn't make any sense. But then I started thinking about it and all the uncertainties surrounding Daemon's ending, and then you factor in all the stuff we saw in Season 2 of Daemon having visions and whatnot, and I thought, probably still a no. But it's interesting, so let's talk about it. There will be spoilers ahead, so you have been warned. So mainly why this theory is possible is because after the Dance of the Dragons, the Targaryen Civil War is concluded, Daemon's fate is unknown. Daemon and Aemond, near the end of the conflict, faced off with one another at Harrenhal above the God's Eye. Daemon on his dragon Caraxes and Aemond on Vhagar. It is one of the most well-known fights ever in Westeros. As the dragons clawed at each other, Daemon, never securing himself to Caraxes, leapt over towards Aemond on Vhagar. He drove Dark's sister, his Valyrian steel sword, into Aemond's remaining eye, killing his nephew. The dragons and the two Targaryen princes crashed into the water below. The lake boiled with dragon blood. Caraxes was able to crawl out of the God's Eye before dying on the shore. Years later, the bodies of Vhagar and Aemond were discovered, but Daemon's body was never found. Historians believe that Daemon died there, but the singers and some small folk believed he made it out alive. Now this is where the theory of Daemon being the three-eyed raven comes from, because of the uncertainty of what happened to him. The most believed theory is that he and Nettles settled down and live out their days in Essos. Nettles is a dragon seed who rides the dragon Sheepstealer. Daemon and her started banging sometime after she got her dragon. Rhaenyra, his wife, does not know about this. But that is in the book. Nettles is not a character in the show. They kind of merged her character with Rhaena Targaryen, Daemon's daughter. And I hope they don't make that a storyline. Like, I'm fine with incest, but father-daughter stuff is where I draw the line. So with Nettles out of the picture, it makes it a bit more plausible of Daemon becoming the three-eyed raven after the Dance of the Dragons. Now, this theory is not stating that Daemon is the three-eyed raven we see in Game of Thrones, that he's the one that meets Bran Stark. He just happens to be the one before that one. That three-eyed raven is wildly believed to be Brynden Rivers, a Targaryen bastard who happens to be Daemon's great-grandson. And House of the Dragon actually confirms this as well. We see Brynden in Daemon's final vision at Harrenhal. We see a man with Targaryen hair and a birthmark on his cheek, which Brynden is described to have. Brynden was exiled to the Wall where he became Lord Commander. He went missing on a ranger mission and was never heard from again, which is why many people believe him to be the three-eyed raven we see in Game of Thrones. Brynden was known for having visions and seemed to know what people were up to. So it makes sense. But let's get back to Daemon, because there is no reason why there can't be a three-eyed raven before Brynden. And with Daemon having these visions, and having this connection to the Weirwoods, you could have an argument for it. It would explain why they had so much of Daemon having visions in Season 2. They were setting this whole thing up. Now, reasons against this theory is that Daemon does not have any blood of the First Men. Bran Stark obviously does, and Brynden Rivers' mother was a Blackwood, so he does as well. The three-eyed raven tends to be associated with the children of the forest, and Weirwood trees, which is very much a First Men kind of thing. Granted, Aegon Targaryen had visions of White Walkers, so you could maybe make that argument. Personally, I don't think it's necessary. Like, what does Daemon being the three-eyed raven really add to the story? Like, it's kind of cool, I guess, but it doesn't really add anything other than linking it to Game of Thrones. Which is another reason why this may happen. House of the Dragon loves trying to connect everything. Daemon's final vision at Harrenhal, he sees the events of Game of Thrones and the White Walkers, which is why he bends the knee to Rhaenyra. I don't know. I kind of talked myself into it. If it happens, sure. If it doesn't, whatever. What do you think about it? Leave it down in the comments below. And if you want more House of the Dragon content, please subscribe and like the video. Check out the Twitter link in the description below. And as always, have an awesome day.